colonies of Jesuits are consolidating. And we're looking over the coming years, closing some historical places. And we wanted to build something, first of all, that would become sort of the new mother house for this region. Eventually artworks, artifacts, things from other houses would come here. And the older men who come here would find something that reminds them of where they spent their lives working.
This is the first religious house that BCJ designed. And a religious house is not a typical institution, so that we're not a nursing home, we're not a school, we're not a business. We're
not just a dormitory.
We're not just a dormitory, we're not just another nonprofit organization, but actually a combination of all those things. And it took a long time of them coming down and seeing how we were living in the old house and trying to imagine how they wanted to live in the new house.
For the design, it's not quite a monastery, but it's a residence for older people who maybe need some help with daily living, but can still be active, can still go out and say Mass, see people. And we're trying to emphasize it's more of a quiet place. So a lot of the basic idea of the design was that of a traditional monastery. So you see some continuity with the traditional things you find in a religious house, the courtyard where people would walk and say their breviaries, the chapel located physically in the center of the building, which is the sort of the heart of the community. So in continuity with the traditional religious house, but using current materials. Another big thing for this building was situating it on the property to get the best view of the trees around it and to make it a building full of light. Everyone in their bedroom has a big window. Every room in this place has a beautiful view. So it's well situated in its natural space. And that was the idea of the chapel, that we're in a grove of trees. So inside the chapel you have those trees bringing the outside into the inside.
The design aspect was created from the necessity of having to put a large building in the spot that we do have. And again, the notion of a sort of semi-monastic setting, and at the same time to create really gracious common spaces. So our dining room, the living room, and the reading room and the private space of the house are light, they're airy, they're comfortable spaces, and one of the things that I, as superior to the community, was really concerned about is to make sure that the guys have the impetus to leave their rooms. The idea is that this is a religious community, and to promote as much interaction among the guys, both from the point of view of just ordinary socialization, as well as the fact that these fellows have so much history of their apostolic work to share with one another and with visitors. One of the things that's so interesting about the chapel and its design, and we thought about this actively in the design phase, what would allow us to be aware of the site where we are without being distracted by it. And one of the things that's so wonderful in the design phase, BCJ actually did light studies of what the chapel would look like at different times of day and different times of year. And we're already experiencing that the light does change, which is, when you first enter, rather stunning. You look at it and you're kind of overwhelmed by the beauty of it. And once you're there for a couple minutes, you really feel settled and established in that place, and you feel comfortable to stay there.
But that's a balance you're trying to make in everybody's life between solitude, contemplation, privacy, thought, prayer, and then socialization, the public thing. So the building has places for solitude and quiet, and you want to encourage also interaction, which is also in a chapel. You want the chapel to be a place for private prayer. You can go in there and just sit in the stillness, but it also has to work when you have a group. Acoustically, it has to gather the group together in celebrations. It has to be able to do both functions. It's modern, and yet it's still connected enough to the tradition or the shapes you'd expect to see, the things you'd expect to find in religious stuff, that you feel at home in it. That's what I really love about this place.
Qui tollis peccata mundi, dona